dedication, hard work, self-sacrifice. That's Larry Bird. Nobody does it better than Larry Bird. Hi, I'm Red Auerbach. Along with Larry Bird, we're going to show you what it takes to play winning basketball. Over the years, the game has changed. Used to have the two-handed set shot, went to the one-handed shot, the jump shot, the hook shot, the sky hook, various dunks, or whatever. But one thing has never changed, and that's fundamentals. Fundamentals are fundamentals. Remember, all you're trying to do is take a round ball, stick it in the hole more times than the other guy. Winning is great. It's great to be a winner. Remember, if you sacrifice and you play hard and you win, you go all summer long with your chest out. I was a member of a winning team. That doesn't mean that if your team doesn't win a championship, that you can't be a winner. You can, but you've got to be willing to pay the price. You've got to work hard. You know, when practice is over, you take some of these fellas, they just go home. But the great ones, they'll stand there and they'll shoot, and they'll work on individual skills. Now, if you're willing to pay that price, you're going to be a fine, fine basketball player. We're going to show you what it takes to become a good shooter. There's a lot of work that goes into that. And the most important thing in shooting, after you learn the techniques, which you'll see now, is not to practice from too far. See, because then you get into bad habits. A shot becomes a throw.
When I was a young kid growing up, I can remember guys at a young age of about 4, 5, 6, 7th grade, something like that. Everybody wanted to make a half-court shot and stand out there all day doing that and never get nothing accomplished. And three-point line's the same way. Kids want to become three-point shooters instead of the basic 15-foot or 10-foot shot.
When I go out and shoot around by myself, anywhere, before a game in the summer, I always try to start out about 15 foot from the basket and work my way around the perimeter just so I can get loose and then maybe go a little bit further out or a little bit closer. What I try to do, just come out and get good rotation on the ball, get the backspin, try to get a good release, and I always focus my eyes on the rim before I shoot the ball. I feel if you don't do that, it's like shooting at a moving target.
Larry, hold it a minute. You were talking about different things about shooting. What about your balance?
Balance is very important. What I try to do when I shoot the basketball, Red, is keep my feet planted towards the basket or somewhere close. When I shoot the ball, when I'm warming up or just out here, or if I have a wide open shot in the game, it seems like I always have my right foot forward. And when I go to release the ball, I use this as balance more so on this, And this is just to get me up on my toes when I shoot it.
Now, and you bend your knees, right?
Right, I think that's very important.
Now,
It's
is that according to distance or according to just natural?
I think it's distance. The further you're out on the court, the more bend you're going to get, the more ump in your takeoff. But I think that it's very important to have a good balance, and you got to be down at all times to give you some flexibility.
All right, now, what about when you shoot the ball? What do you do about holding the seams or the backspin? Why do you do that?
Well, I try to get my fingers into the seams every time I shoot the ball. It's not possible every time, but if I got time, somebody throws me the ball, if I got time to make the adjustment, get my fingers on there, I think it's very important because one thing, the distance, I feel the further I'm out on the court, if I get my fingers in there, it gives me a little something to hold, to push off. I also feel that I can get better rotation on the ball, which I think is very important because if you get good rotation on the ball, if it hits the rim, it's going to bounce around, give you that extra bounce maybe up there to fall in.
That's what they talk about, you know, the good shooters seem to be lucky shooters, but
Right.
there's a reason for it.
That's true. The other reason I like to get my fingers into the seams is because if I don't, it feels like a beach ball to me. It don't feel right. The ball does not feel very good in my hands at this position.
Now, what do you do with your, for example, your head?
My head is always, my eyes are always planted on that rim.
You don't watch the
shoot.
ball.
Never watch the ball. It's all feel.
I think consistency is real important when shooting the ball. I try to have the exact same motion each time I take my shot. As I bring the ball up, my elbow is in, my wrist is bent back, I push off with my middle two fingers, and I follow all the way through, extending my arm and wrist as if they were going right through the basket.
Larry, when you shoot the ball, how far back do you bring it?
Well, I take it up to the side, Red, where I can see it out of the corner of my eye. The one thing that I've always learned, if I brought it back any further than that, it's more of a throw than a shot. So when I take it up, I feel more comfortable if I just take it to the side of my head and just follow through.
If you take it too far back, what happens?
I don't have really no direction of the ball. I don't really know where it's going to go. It's more of a throw. Of course, me, you know.
Don't mess with success. You don't have to be a picture shooter. No matter what you do, as long as it works, stick with it. Larry, when you shoot the ball, you very seldom take a jump shot. Why?
Well, the further I am from the basket, the less I want to jump because I think I have to have good balance in my feet. I have to be able to be planted and go up. I really don't get that much air time, but I do just get enough to get the ball up over the rim. But if I'm in the lane 13, 12, 10 foot and somebody's on me, I do have to jump a little bit higher. But I'd rather stay on the ground because I'm not a great leaper, but I think I can get away with it out on the court if I keep my feet planted and keep good balance.
A lot of people think the bankboard is just to hold the rim and net in place. But remember, the bankboard can be one of your best friends. I feel that there's a variety of places that you can place the ball off the backboard easy enough for the ball to drop in. As shown here, there's 4 or 5 or 6 different spots that I can place a ball in the same area and you can still go in for 2.
Every time you look at the backboard, remind yourself that the back of the rim is only 6 inches from the backboard. So all you have to do is touch the board. It's an added plus. It's a big plus. Use it wisely. All right, hold it. The most basic shot in basketball is the layup. Now you can shoot it with your hand under the ball, or you can shoot it with your hand over the ball. Always remember, you don't throw the ball. You've only got 6 inches between the backboard and the rim. All you've got to do is touch it. Use the hand opposite from the foot that's on the floor when you jump. And when you jump straight up. And you do that by throwing your head up. And you jump with your left foot, your right hand will throw it. Always remember, be careful about being cute. That is coming down and spinning the ball. Coming down and throwing the ball. Or coming down and using a finger roll. That's the worst thing you could do. Let the Michael Jordans and the Dr. J's, they could do it. They got the big hands and they're professionals. But always remember, a layup is a layup. If you're free underneath the basket and you can dunk the ball, don't fool around. Just stuff it in. Players today, every once in a while, get carried away and they want to have showtime. They want to play to the crowd. So they slam it hard, and a lot of times it hits the back rim or it hits the front rim on the side and pops out. Remember, what you're trying to do is score.
You should always take the open shot. If you know you have a good shot, it's your job to take it. When conditions are right, I'll even take the three-pointer. I'm always confident that if I practice my fundamentals, my ability will come through under pressure. I figure I can either make the shot or create an opportunity to score by taking it to the defense and get fouled.
Foul shots are often called free throws. That's just what it is, a free throw. Now, Larry, you've just been fouled. You got 2 of them. What goes through your mind?
Well, the first thing I like to do is relax. After running down the court for 2 or 3 minutes, you get a little bit tired and you don't want to step the line real quick because you do have plenty of time to shoot them. So what I like to do is take my time, step to the line, relax, block everything out, and just concentrate on that rim. I always take a couple dribbles, mess with the ball a little bit, then go down, bend my knees a little bit, and relax.
Now, wait a minute. I gave you 2 free throws. You made 1, and you stepped back. Why did you step back?
Well, I always feel that a guy that shoots a free throw and stands on the line is just adding pressure on himself. What I like to do, I like to get away from the line, go through all my thinking again, wait till the official gets through arguing with all the coaches, all the players, regroup, come back to the line when the official's ready to give me the ball, and start all over again. I think I'm a better free throw shooter because of that.
Larry, when you got these 2 free throws coming, does it ever go through your mind the score, or you might miss one, or what?
I never, ever think I'm going to miss. Every time I walk to the free throw line, I always add up 2 points.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. When I sit in the stands and you're playing out there, I look at the score, I automatically add 2, I'll tell you that.
That's added pressure.
Great shooters are not always great scorers. The reason being, just because you can shoot doesn't mean you know how to use a screen. Doesn't mean you got that real great hustle. It doesn't mean that you know how to fake and feint and get open for your shots. But a great scorer usually has both. Let's watch it.
DJ has the ball about 15 feet from the basket and sees me open underneath, but I've decided that I have a big man on me, so I go outside, fake the outside shot, get the defensive man leaving his feet, take the ball into the basket, seeing that there's 2 or 3 defensive players standing there waiting for me, guarding my right hand, I take the ball up left hand and bank it off the board.
Ball fakes are a very important part of the game. I like to use them to release defensive pressure and make them stay back off of me, or make them either get up close to me so I can make a quicker move going left or right. Some of them I like to fake right and go left, or I like to fake left and go right. The one that I like to use the most is a head and shoulder fake, because if you don't react any quicker than that, it's always 2.
Here Dennis Johnson is giving him room. To get him off balance, I have to fake right to get him leaning that way so I can go left. I take 1 dribble to the basket and go in left-handed for 2 points. Here the defense isn't too tight, so I try to make him think with an up fake, and then I give him a hesitation move to freeze his motion, and then I take it strong in the hoop, driving past him with a running left-handed hook. Sometimes ball fakes is not enough to get the open shot. That's why you need your teammates to set a good screen for you or a good pick. To me, a pick and a screen are 2 different things. When I think of a pick, I think of myself having the ball and a guy comes out and plants a good pick on the defensive man where I can come off for the shot or run the pick and roll. A screen is when I'm without the ball and I move to get myself open and come off a screen for a jump shot from 10 or 15 feet out.
I think it's just things that people say you can't do and you try them. It's a situation where, you know, you always want to see the one shot or the one pass that's never been made. And since I got the green light, I'll try anything. I usually like to ride to the game by myself. I can get more out of it, and it's one of them times of days where you're by yourself and you can think a little bit better, and you can anticipate a little bit what you're going to do out there. Just like tonight, I know who's going to guard me. I know I can come off the picks and get a little bit better shots, and I really don't worry about it. I sort of just let my ability take over when the game starts, and that's what happens now. I just go through some small things in my mind, some real minor things, but once I step on the court, I just let my ability take over.
Someone has to bring the ball up. Somebody has to pass the ball and get it in the hands of the guys that can shoot it. But the way the game is played today, everybody has to know how to dribble and drive. Everybody knows and should know how to pass the ball. Because if you want to play winning basketball, you can't lose that ball. You got to be a good dribbler. You got to be a good passer. Now let's see how to do it. Here's Jerry Sichting showing you the various techniques of dribbling. Hey, Ray, what is all this? They go between their legs while they're dribbling, even in a ball game.
Yeah, a lot of times they do that, Red, to get away from the defensive man. As you notice, Jerry, right now, he's working on hand speed, and he's working on different situations in case he arises in a game where he has to go down the floor real close to get the ball. He learns how to dribble close so he can get away from the defensive man. As you notice, his eyes are always looking ahead, always looking in front of him, and he's trying to protect the ball. These are different moves you can work on to protect the ball from the defensive player.
I guess they do that because after a while the ball becomes a part of them.
That's right. You've got to do these things because you never want to be in a situation where you have to worry about putting the ball on the floor going left or right. You've got to be able to think that the ball is part of your hand.
Now, this is one of the few team games where you can do a lot of things by yourself.
That's right. This right here can be worked on anywhere. Driveway at home, basement, just about anywhere in the neighborhood. These are things that are very important in the game of basketball. You don't have to use all of them during a game. I don't think it's very necessary to go behind your back 50 times during a game or through your legs, but there are some instances where you have to get away from the defensive pressure.
When you dribble, you must always be aware that the floor is smooth, the ball is round, though it's going to come back up to you, so you don't have to watch it. So you keep your head up. You bend your knees. Keep the dribble low. Use your other hand to protect the ball. Remember, the ball is controlled by the fingertips, so that the hands must remain soft and you feel the ball as you dribble. When you're starting to drive towards the basket, the first step makes all the difference. Watch Jerry Sichting fake, and as he moves to go around Sam Vincent, he steps as far as he can to put the ball past Vincent. So he's already beaten him with just the first move. When a player is coming up the court, he needs a lot of skills to get by the defense. Here, Jerry Sichting uses the crossover dribble. He knows when he's going to use this while the defense does not. Therefore, the man who is dribbling has the advantage. Now, remember also that he does this without breaking speed or rhythm. When a man overplays him on one side, he just puts it behind his back without breaking rhythm and keeps the dribbling. Well, here's Jerry coming at Sam, and he's going to execute a spin move. Now, you must be careful when you make that move because your back is towards 4 other defensive players, one of whom could switch and cause you trouble while your back is to all those defensive players. All right, let's watch Sam bring the ball up. You notice he went behind his back without breaking stride, just as Jerry did, but he stopped for that jump shot. Now, only he knew when he was going to stop. That's what makes it such a powerful weapon. The defense has to guess when he's going to stop. Great penetrating guards like Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, or many years ago, the great Bob Cousy. They know that when they penetrate into the paint area, they can either take it to the hoop, or if they draw a man over to them, that is their double team, they can dish it off. But they'll always find a way to take the shot or hit the open man. Nobody can run as fast as the ball can travel through a pass. Therefore, the best way to beat the defense is to pass the ball. And you don't have to be fancy to be effective. Remember, no pass is a good pass unless somebody catches it. And the most basic pass is the chest pass.
When throwing a two-handed chest pass, remember, always step towards your target. When throwing the basketball, when you release it, make sure your thumb's always pointed down and the ball has a little bit of backspin on it. The bounce pass is executed like a chest pass, except the ball bounces about 2/3 of the way towards the receiver, so it bounces up to the waist of the receiver. This pass can be used when you're getting a lot of defensive pressure from a single or double team. To throw the hook bounce pass, you must step around the defensive man so that you get outside of the defensive pressure and throw a sidearm pass to the receiver. Here's something to avoid. As I see Danny Ainge cutting to the basket, I throw him a sidearm bounce pass. As you can see, I threw it behind him and the ball skidded on me, costing us an easy 2 points. The overhead pass is typically used to inbound the ball or often to feed a pivot man. A variation is a jump overhead pass. It is used only when the man is wide open because it is such a dangerous pass. Because anytime you leave your feet, you better have a target to throw to, because if not, you could get stuck in the air and always get called for traveling. When throwing the baseball pass, it is a very dangerous pass because you just have one hand on the ball. When throwing the ball, it's much like throwing a baseball. You want to throw it in a direct, straight line to the receiver. When throwing a long pass full court, you want to throw it to where the man can run it down. You do not want to throw behind him, because if you do, he'll have to stop and let the defense catch up with him. The behind the back pass is made by directing the wrist at the receiver from behind your back. This pass should only be used in special instances such as a 2-on-1 break, when the defensive man has committed himself and is all over the ball handler. He can go behind his back to open up an otherwise tight passing lane.
Go! Touch that line over there. Come on. Let's go.
Now you've seen the basic passes. Here's some drills and some games which you could use, which are not only effective in teaching the kids, but they can have some fun. This is a passing drill. It teaches you to pass under stress. There's a guy in the middle who's on the defense, the other men are on the offense. They can't pass to the guy next to him. It's just a simple drill, but you've got to move fast. This is a long pass drill, similar to sort of a baseball pass. Have some fun.
Your head is up, your head is up. Your head up, boom.
When you learn how to dribble the ball, the main thing, even passing, the main thing is no turnovers.
My philosophy is I like to get the ball in the vicinity of the guy to catch it. I always say once it leaves my hand, there's nothing I can do about it. It's up to the guy that's receiving it. I know.
However, he's got to know it's coming. I mean, sometimes if he's out there and you throw it real hard and he doesn't expect it and he drops it, I think it's the fault of the guy who threw it, not the guy who didn't catch it.
In certain situations, but I think if you throw a pass to a guy, if his defensive man's behind him and a guy slides around, knocks it away and steals the ball, I think that's the fault of the guy receiving the pass.
Well, that may well be, but suppose a lot of times a guy goes up for a shot, and he changes his mind. All of a sudden you throw a hard pass at him and it goes off his hands. You can't blame the guy whose hands it went off. You got to blame the guy who passed the ball.
Well, in my situation, I don't usually worry about it. If I go for the shot, it's going towards the rim.
As a coach, fellas come out for the team. Now, what do I look for? Naturally, you look for skills. It's important. But there are a lot of things that you really zero in on, such as hustle. Now, you say, what is hustle? Hustle means you play with great intensity. That ball that's on the floor, it doesn't have any player's name on it. Therefore, it belongs to the guy that's going to dig in deep, no matter how tired he is, and go and get that ball and say, that's mine. And he's going to get it. That's why hustle always impresses a coach. Determination, that real dedicated, sincere look that you're going to give everything you got within you while you're playing out there. Larry, there's an old thing going around for years that you don't make a ball club with defense. You don't get the big salary with defense. And I think that's a lot of bunk. I think if a coach knows what he's doing out there and a guy knows how to play defense, he could contribute to that ball club.
Well, that's true, because I think from playing on the Celtics that we get a lot of our easy baskets because we play great defense. Once you slap the ball away, or you intimidate a shot, or you get a long rebound, or make a guy kick the ball out of bounds, we run off the mistakes they make, and defense causes them.
Well, your defense triggers your offense. But basically, in playing defense on a man-to-man situation, you've got to have determination. You've got to be willing to sacrifice your offense, because defense is work. It's hard work. And the guy that works so hard, he has to give up part of his offense. There's no question about it. But the guys that go out there and just talk about the defense, like from a standpoint of a full-court press or a man-to-man defense or a two-man trap or all those crazy defenses, what is it? Work.
That's true.
You can play any defense and win.
You know, the points you made about guys sacrificing their offense for the defensive end, we got prime examples on our team.
Dennis Johnson is a great defensive player. He's a ball hawk. He gets all over the ball, and he anticipates a lot of offensive moves, enabling him to make a good defensive play. He's able to force key mistakes by the other team because he has good basic defensive maneuvers. Here, Dennis Johnson, guarding Danny Ainge, is going to show us how to play good individual defense.
Basic defense. There are 3 to 4 very important parts you need to know. First is your arm's distance away from your man. Second is your stance, with your shoulders in line with your knees, everything in line with your feet, and you're in a crouch position. The third, the most important, you need to know your man's strength. If he's better going right, you like to push him left. And as he goes that way, you slide your feet or shuffle your feet to try and catch up to turn him back the other way. And as he gets closer into the bucket, you want to body up a little closer to make it harder for him to get the 2 points.
All right, hold a minute. Hold a minute. Dennis, I was watching you, and I was watching your feet in particular. Do you advocate guarding a man with your feet parallel, or would you like the balance where you have 1 foot forward?
Never straight up. I think always your feet, whether you're shading him left to the right, should be always forward, either this way or this way, to control the offensive player.
You notice how his back is straight and his head is up, how he's concentrating on Danny. Now that's very important. Also, we like to have 1 foot forward so you get the good balance and you can move easier laterally. Playing basic defense involves staying in the right position. It's very important that you learn to watch your man, study him, and then be able to tell from his position what type of movement he's going to attempt. DJ will show us how it's done.
As he jabs to my right, you take a step back. And to the left, my left, you take a step back. As he pulls the ball back up for a shot, you take 1 step forward with your body in front of him. When he puts the ball down, you know he cannot shoot the ball, so you back into your defensive position. Sometimes you're not going to be in the position to play the man with the ball. More than likely, you're going to be in what we call a helping defense. That's with the ball at the top of the key, you guarding your man out at the opposite side of the key, and what you would like to do is be somewhere near the middle or check up, and if your man breaks towards the bucket, you would like to take 1 slide back, pivot around, and deflect the ball down.
Everybody wants to steal the ball. But it can be dangerous to try because more often than not, the offensive man will go by you and get free. Or you might even be called for a foul. Here,